as a broadcast. We are on broadcast trying to get the history of the Somali community in Britain and wider. And Peter, you are the one of the historical. You're coming out one of the top historical, having really helped and everything. Tell us who you are and what was the connection between you and the Somali community.
Yeah, sure. My name is Peter Sim, and I'm a solicitor. And I guess I was a young solicitor in 1987, I think. I went to Liverpool Law Centre because I'd got approached by a campaign worker there called Alan Gale, and I went over there and I was doing housing law, predominantly because of the housing problems in that part of Liverpool. And then I remember in 88, there was a group of Somalis led by Adan Elmi came to the law centre, basically asking us if they could help us with their families who'd been caught up in the war after the bombing of Borough and Hargeisa and had fled. Many of them, they didn't know where they were. Many of them, they knew they were in refugee camps but had little idea of their particular whereabouts or their condition or their situation. And so the leader of that group, if I can call him a leader of the group, was Adan Elmi. And I called him a leader because he had such a forceful personality. He was a very kind man, a very big man, but very gentle and generous. And I got to know him really well over the years. He became a great friend of mine afterwards. Yeah, so that's how I met him and listened to what the Somali community desperately needed was someone to try and help them reunite their families, bring their families to the United Kingdom because they'd been displaced by a particularly awful civil war in Somalia.
And did you know anything about the Somali community at all at that time?
No, I knew nothing really about the Somali community at that time. Of course, we were based in Liverpool 8, and there was quite a large, not a large, but a fairly large Somali community in Liverpool 8. He just asked for help, and I said, I'm a housing lawyer. I haven't got any idea what you do in this type of situation. But of course, when you're faced with that, you have to develop and find out how to do something. And it was through communication then with Adan, because he'd come to us and I was the person he'd come to. And we then formed a friendship, and I worked on ways in which we might be able to get help to do that.
Find out ways to actually bring people over in this war-torn situation. Okay. So what happened next? You have the connection with the Elme.
Yeah.
You have to build up the friendship. You know the story of Somalia and the civil war.
Yeah.
And what happened in Borough, the bomb in Hargeisa.
Yeah.
And the worst civil war happens there.
That got me involved, if you like, in immigration law generally.
Right.
And in immigration law, if you want to bring your family over, you've got to go to an embassy, make an application, and you've got to meet various immigration rules.
Yeah.
And none of the families, very few of the families would qualify for visas to come to the UK if you could find where those families were. Yeah, so we had effectively two problems. One was persuading the government that they should allow these people to come to the UK, and two was finding those people. With regard to the first problem, we had a meeting with Home Office representatives. I've written letters explaining the situation about this, and we had a meeting with the Home Office representatives, which Adan came as the representative of the Somali community, where we were explaining the situation, and the Home Office gave a very positive response to that they would waive the requirements that you had to meet, the money requirements that you would generally need to bring your spouse and your children over to the UK. And they would waive the requirements that you would have to go to an embassy. So they would accept our letters asking for these family members with a lot of detail, which we would have to give them, and we'd have to get that from the Somali people. But they would then look at that and make a decision on that letter rather than interviewing everybody as to whether they could come to the United Kingdom. And Adan Elmi played a really large part in that, because he was the communicator with the whole of the Somali community. Well, not the only communicator, but he was
the key holder.
A leading, that's right. And he was the one who spoke with all the individual people, or brought the individual people in with me, acted as an interpreter, and effectively gave all the key information that you would need for us to try to persuade the Home Office that that person should be granted, or those people should be granted entry clearance to come to the UK.
Right.
The second problem, though, was where were these people? Some of them were in refugee camps. We knew that because the families knew that. But some of them were scattered all over the area, different areas in
Ethiopia,
the country, in Ethiopia.
Yeah,
that's right. So that was the second problem, and that was probably a much more difficult problem to solve, because with regard to the people who were in refugee camps, we approached the UNHCR.
Okay.
The UNHCR was saying, we can put up signs in the refugee camps with the names of all the people, and then they'll come to us, and when we can locate them that way. That just didn't happen, basically. I guess that's a Somali trait that you don't communicate like that, or you don't read English, or you don't. So that just didn't happen. So time went on, and we got a meeting with the Foreign Office. I wrote to the Foreign Office, and we got. They invited us to come to London to the Foreign Office, and I think it was Adan and I who went to the Foreign Office. I can't remember if Paul Morris came from Manchester as well, but we went to the Foreign Office, and they were saying, and what we were saying to the Foreign Office basically was, look, we'll go over to Somalia, to Ethiopia, and we'll find them. We'll find the people.
Okay.
And they're saying, I don't know why I was saying that, but anyway, they were saying...
A man from Liverpool comes and says, well, we're going to go to Somalia.
The
Civil War happens. Interesting.
But that's what we were saying to them. And they were saying, no, we UNHCR are the people, will devise better ways for UNHCR to develop this. And we gave them, it kind of seemed strange at the time, now just telling you this, but we sort of gave them an ultimatum that well, okay, we'll give you 3 weeks, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's been no development to us through UNHCR of
Mm-hmm.
where these people are, we'll come back to you and we'll want to go. And 3 months went by and there was we knew there wouldn't be really any development through UNHCR. I mean,
Okay.
I have a lot of faith in UNHCR. I think UNHCR are a good organisation, but
Yeah.
they're difficult.
It's hard to find it, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a long chain to get the right people and
That's right.
so many orders.
And they've got such a massive responsibility for so many things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So then you went.
So we went back to the Foreign Office. Well, we communicated back to the Foreign Office.
Uh-huh.
I think the first time we saw Linda Chalker, who was the minister, but the second time we saw somebody else, one of the civil servants, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, well, what do you want to do? And so we want to go to Ethiopia. We want to go to all the refugee camps. We want to see the people, try to find the people, and ultimately find a route to get them back into the United Kingdom. And they said they were, like, looking back compared to today, they were quite positive. They were sort of saying, we'll give you a Land Rover to get out to the various camps, and we'll help sort it out.
Great.
So that was really the situation then, but we had quite. I think we had, by then we probably had visas for about 200 plus Liverpool people to come to the UK.
All right.
And I think Manchester had a similar amount of people.
Okay.
And we were now faced with the problem of going to Ethiopia. How do we do it? How do we get the money to do it?
Mm-hmm.
How do we put it together?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was when the Somali community got together.
Started.
In Liverpool and elected 3 people, I think, to go on the delegation.
Mm-hmm.
I put forward a budget to the Liverpool City Council to get money from them. It was I think we were looking at 3 weeks, going over for 3 weeks, but very, very tight regime. So we went to Addis, met UNHCR, went to the camps, and then came back. And I think we were asking for about, it was something like £8,000 or £9,000. It is in the report, but something quite reasonably small.
Okay.
For airfares and stuff like that.
Then you wanted. This is where the journey starts. So you and Mr. Adam Elmi went to Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us how was that story?
So then,
Was that your first time in Africa?
yeah, that was the first time I've ever been to Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first time, I think even the first time that I must say, when we went, we had to get the flight from London.
Heathrow Airport to Addis.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and we were meeting in Liverpool, and a guy from the law centre was taking us down in an old van, which was an old banger of a van.
Mm-hmm.
And we were waiting for the 3 Somalis to come.
Mm-hmm.
And about 100 Somalis came up Princess Road with suitcases and mosquito nets and everything you could see. And I was going, we're not going to get these in a van.
No.
And we didn't.
You say sorry.
But that was just great. Adan Elmi was leading all these people up Princess Road.
So Adan Elmi says we can't take all the
These
speakers
are all
away.
our people.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
okay.
right. We can't.
He was a proper leader then.
Yeah,
He
definitely,
was, yeah.
definitely.
To confess them.
And he'd been an elected leader, and there was a woman there, Zainab Aboka, who was again elected to go by the Somali community.
So the 3 of them come with you.
Yeah.
2 men and 1 woman.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were and there was Alan Gale from the Law Centre and myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll come to
there was 5 of
Manchester.
us.
I'll come up to Manchester. So you fly to Ethiopia. So tell us that journey of Ethiopia and the ADB camps.
Yeah.
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 How was it?
Oh, well, the first camp we went to, we arrived in Addis Ababa. We flew to. Did we fly? No, we didn't fly. We went to Jigjiga.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And of course, you couldn't stay in the camps, so
Yeah.
UNHCR wouldn't let us stay in the camps.
Okay.
So we had to stay in Jigjiga.
Yeah.
And we had to travel
In the
every
morning.
day. Yeah, in the morning and come back at night to Hatishek.
Alright.
And we went.
So you went to Hatishek.
We went to both the Hatishek camps because there was an A and B camp, I think, at the time,
Okay.
and there were about, I think, between them there were probably about 225, 250,000 people in there.
250,000 people.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
In those refugee camps. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like,
And this is the one you did. This is the report you did. If I remember.
yeah, that one. Yeah.
This is the report you done for the time.
Yeah, we just did that. That report was ultimately to report to the community, to the council who'd funded us, but also to see if we could get. Because once, I know we'll come to this later, but we had the problem of how do we get people over here with big families when the airlines are charging you
of course, yeah.
all this money. Yeah.
And you did all these reports with the Home Office. Then when you went, you and Elme and other delegation, what was that experience for you?
For me,
For first-hand experience.
I think it affected me much more when I got back to the UK later. I think, for example, I can remember us going, I think it was the first day in Hatishek, and I can remember the doctors saying to us, it was all children in there, in this particular hospital, and they were saying, it was a tented hospital, saying, all the children on this side are going to die, and all the children on this side have a chance of surviving. And I was like, look, I was like, okay, right, I understand. And it affected me when I got back rather than when I got back to England rather than when I was there.
Because Mr. Elmi seen that experience and he knows what was happened.
Yeah.
But for you, you never have that.
No.
You never picturize it.
That's right.
You never have that image of people dying. Does it really give you a gas to do more?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Certainly Alan Gale, who came with us, who was a campaign worker for the Law Centre, was very affected by it. And but we just got on with it then. We knew we had to, we had a job. We weren't there to see. Well, I don't know. We were there to try to find people. Yeah.
So Mr. Elmi was your leader, interpreter. He was playing a lot of roles, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay. So when he goes there and he sees his family, what was his image?
So what he would do is I would want to, if we found somebody, and finding somebody was really difficult. So, for example, and you probably know this, and I don't mean this in any way badly,
No.
but
We're talking history.
Yeah. You get to the refugee camp and you'd be greeted by a delegation of people. And Elme was great because Adan was great because he would go and he would meet them and speak to them and all that. Whereas all we wanted to do was find people, really. And so Zainab, who was the woman, would because they were always men, always men.
Yeah, always men, yeah.
She would go out the back,
Mm.
and she would go, and like later she would come back and she would say, I found this person who knows this person who knows this other person, and it would all be done through clan, sub-clan, family names.
That's the connection
like
we have.
Yeah.
That's the information we have.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the best way to find it.
Yeah. And then we tell the embassy gave us 2 people, Ethiopians, and they drove us, and we'd go and find those people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I can't remember the question now. But
the question was basically, so when Mr. Elme was there, he was a connector and he interpreter as well as the...
Yeah, so I would see people then. If they find people, I would try to get as much information as possible. Yeah. We would also be seeing people who we weren't necessarily looking for, but they were family of people
living
of people who were in the UK, you know. Yeah. So we were trying to make references to those. You know, I was trying to write down all that stuff.
Everything.
He was an interpreter in that, but he was also much, much more than an interpreter. Yeah. You know, he was out in the camp with the people. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So that was So what happened after that? You came back to UK?
Yeah, we went to... So we went to all the camps. We went to Hartishek, then we went to the Rabasso, Daroa, and Kampaboka,
okay,
which were quite way out, really.
Yeah. All the way from Kampaboka. It's near the border of Somalia.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So we went to all those camps. We managed. People would go out. We would tell people where we were going next, and they would communicate. He would tell. I wouldn't tell people.
Yeah.
Adan Elmi would tell people where we would be next, and they would come to the next place we would go. So I think we were 4 or 5 days in Hartishek, so we would keep going, and then more and more people would come as they got to know, and then we were in different camps, and we would meet people because of word of mouth, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
The journey went to the ADB camp from Hartishek to Kampaboka.
Yeah.
Finish it.
Yeah.
Then you returned back to UK.
Yeah.
What happened?
Okay, when we got back to the UK, we were faced with entry clearance visas for so many people, and we were getting entry clearance visas all the time as well, so it was mounting all the time. We need to bring them back. They had to get to the British Embassy to collect their entry clearance visas in Addis Ababa. And we had to find a way of trying to get money to bring them to the UK, because individual families, a lot of people were retired seamen.
Yeah.
A lot of people, weren't many young people who were working, who could afford anyway the costs of all this, you know.
Yeah, the airplane, the hotels, everything.
Yeah, yeah. So we what we did was we got, and it was Adan and some others, of course, many other Somalis as well who were very active. We formed a group called Support. I think it was called Support Somali Asylum, and we were seeking to raise money from various people and various charities and dues, and you know, we had a big thing at the Philharmonic Hall where Aswad came and did a concert, and all the money went to the charity. And we raised money, and as we raised money we could pay, and we used to meet every I think it was every 2 weeks. Paul from Manchester came down as well, and we would delegate that money for the families to pay for airfares, and we negotiated flights through I think it was through Lufthansa
Yeah.
for cheaper flights to bring people over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was it went on a long time. But we raised a lot of money. And
So, do you remember how many people comes to this while you was working with Sarah?
yeah, I've got it. I can't remember offhand. It's in the report.
Yeah.
I think straight away we got, well, not straight away, but it was bigger at the beginning, and there was something like 37 families came through.
37 families.
37 families. It was about 140
140
people.
Yeah.
And then that carried on and on and on. So more and more people.
You opened the
were coming.
doors, yeah.
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 And then more and more people were making applications. So we were still making applications for people. And as those applications were made, more and more were being granted. Yeah. So I don't really know how many people came. You know,
Well, nobody knows the number.
wasn't.
Nobody knows the number.
Yeah.
You can see in Liverpool today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. After generations.
Yeah. I imagine that when they came, they would go to people like Adan, you know,
Yeah.
who would be very, very supportive
Absolutely.
to them. And he would be coming in constantly asking for more, telling us about more people, you know.
So then you went out. The first time you went was in 1989.
Yeah.
When was the second time you went?
Yeah, that was a, we were having, can I just mention about in between those times?
Yeah, please.
In between those times, the situation for securing entry clearance visas became much more difficult. So the British Embassy were becoming harsher and harsher and harsher. Sometimes, and you can completely understand it, people were trying to get cousins and, distant family members to come in as well, you know. So, and we were applying for those people. You know, we were making those applications, and if they were rejected, we were appealing those decisions because we were given rights of appeal. So I was involved in a lot of court work by then. So I was actually representing myself in court and going to court quite a lot to represent cases, and we were having quite a lot of success when we were going to court with cases, but it got harder and harder and harder, so that by the time I went the second time, and I can't remember if it was 94 or 96, I think it was 96, Paul Morris and I, who were involved really with the legal side, the entry clearance side, decided and needed much more information than initially we were required to give about families, because we really were having to prove relationships and stuff like that. Decided to go back and get information from people, and we went on our own. Basically, we didn't get any funding. We basically paid for ourselves to go over. And we decided to go to Addis Ababa, where we were going to interview people because people were already flocked. So that you probably know there was a lot of people in down by the airport, that area of Addis. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And there were lots and lots of people there. So we were going to interview down there. We also wanted to go to the camps, so we were going to go over to the camps. We went over to... we communicated with the Foreign Office, but the main people the Foreign Office were helpful, so they arranged a couple of things for us, but the Red Cross arranged for a Land Rover for us so that we could travel with a driver out to the refugee camps.
Okay, so you went all the way. Is that Elme was with you at that time?
No, he wasn't.
He was second trip.
Yeah, he was very involved in that. He was very involved in bringing people to us and us making the applications, but he didn't go on that.
Okay.
On that trip with us. No,
right.
Just the two of us went. Yeah.
Yeah, and
it was tough. It was tough. Yeah, it was. I mean, people have been in those refugee camps then about 7 years, I think, and possibly more, and wanted to get out, and they were closing refugee camps.
Yeah.
Refugees were coming to the refugee camps, and they weren't getting rations from the UNHCR. As the UNHCR was saying, we have a 3-month ration process. You register every three months.
Yeah.
So they would be outside the camp. So they were living off the rations of the
camp,
people who already were getting rations inside the camp, who were giving rations to people outside the camp.
That's sad, yeah.
So it was quite distressing in many ways, the situation. But you would know about that. The people
we have seen it.
Were living there. Yeah.
So finally, a lot of people arrive. You really help a lot of people. So what happened after that connection with you and Elme?
Okay.
Now you're becoming a friend. Now you travel together.
We were friends, yeah.
Yeah.
We were good friends.
Yeah.
I'd left the law centre. I think I'd left the law centre in possibly 88 or 89, but I was working in a private small firm in Liverpool then. Just me and another person, and Elme was constantly coming in. I call him Elme. I'm sorry, Adan.
Adan. Yeah.
But he was constantly coming in
asking help
to us, and it was pretty much part of our firm, really, establishing our firm. You know, and so we were doing the same thing, and then of course the war kicked off in Mogadishu. Was it 91?
So Mogadishu start.
Yeah, so I was dealing a lot with those cases. British government were harsher and harsher, so I was going to appeals a lot. We were doing appeals a lot of the time. Elme would come to the appeals with me, you know.
As evidence.
Yeah, as a free...
He was, even when the civil war happened in Mogadishu, he was helping.
Yeah, he never, ever asked for any money for interpreting or going to court or anything like that, even though that would have been available to him, because by that time we were getting people on legal aid, so we could get
a translator.
So we could get a translator.
And he says
he never ever asked for money. No,
he was a man with the integrity.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was a good man. Yeah.
A good man.
I remember when we were in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
When we were traveling day after day to Hattusheq and on this truck, he was just sorry, I've lost my.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
My train of thought.
Yeah.
But there was a British embassy representative with us.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was because a lot of the people had pensions who had worked they were British seamen.
Yeah.
And they had pensions, and they'd lost their pensions when they had to flee from Borough and Hargeisa.
Yeah.
So she was trying to sort out the pension rights for people like that. So we had a lot of people coming into these tents asking about pension rights.
Yeah.
And she used to, the whole journey there and back, every time we went, she used to question him about the situation in Somalia. She was after information about the Somali community
Yeah.
and the situation, and he was always very, very, just very straightforward about what was happening and loyal to the Somalis. You know,
Yeah.
It was.
He
all
was
about
explaining.
He was a humanitarian. Yeah.
He was more humanitarian.
Yeah. He was a humanitarian. Yeah, he really was. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. He was a team leader.
Yeah.
At the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add, or?
I suppose from a personal, I just add from a personal point of view.
Yeah, please.
It was just, I didn't know what to do when the Somalis came into the law centre.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea. And it's that kind of thing. Well, we need to do something, so let's do something. So we worked together with the Somali community, and Adan was the leader of the Somali community. And I think we achieved quite a lot. And I'm not aware really of the children who came and who have now grown up.
Yeah.
But I was at
It's fascinated.
celebration about a year ago, I
Yeah.
think. They had a celebration.
18 May, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And a woman came up to me at that, and I was just there. I remember driving her to a court in Manchester with on my knee while I was driving. She was in the passenger seat. I was asking her questions because I was representing her case in court because they'd been refused, some family members. And her son came up, and her son came up to me, and he was a pharmacist in the UK. And it was just really wonderful to see that.
Is that the son at that time? Is that the baby she had in her hand?
That was a baby.
He came to you and said, do you remember?
He came up to me, and he said, thank you very much, and it was just so lovely that. Yeah.
Amazing.
And I just, it was it's the biggest thing in my life. I've done quite a lot of things in my life, right? Strangely.
Yeah.
In law, particularly.
It was.
But that was the greatest thing. I really, really, it's hard to say enjoy something when there were so many people who were killed in that terrible war.
Yeah. So generally, if we go back again, our interview, when you have this experience with Mr. Adan Elmi, what would you call him?
What would I call him?
Yeah. You have worked with him, you have understand with him, you travel with him. Yeah. What kind of person was he?
He was a monumental leader, really. And he was a great friend. And a great friend to me and my wife and my family. And we went there for meals. And I know Sirad, I still keep in touch with Amina and Faduma and Ahmad, of course.
Yeah.
Ahmed and
so you're coming
Omar.
More family.
Yeah, so it's been great. And I've always wanted to tell my story, but because I feel as though it's my story as well, because he was that warm to me, Adan. He was a warm person to me. And always a great friend. And I wanted to tell our story, really, always. And I was so sorry I didn't get the chance to do what you're doing now, interview him and
find out,
and get some kind of oral history from him.
Absolutely.
Because he was a monumental man. And everybody in the law centre thought that as well. And and Sirad's quite a wonderful woman as well. Yeah.
You becoming a family friend. Would you say if was Mr. Adan Elmi was not coming to you, the immigration status of Somali community would never open? Would you say he was the man who behind?
Yeah, he was the man who opened the doors for the Somali community, definitely. The Somali community was, I don't think, a particularly large community at that time. And it had a lot of people with various ideas, and there were various conflicts in the Somali community.
Of course,
and those came out at times, and he was always a peacemaker because always he wanted the good of the whole Somali community. He to come through, and when that horrible war took place I think it was South African planes, wasn't it, that bombed Brno and Hargeisa. His family were here. They were here. He took on the role of helping to bring all the members of other Somalis families. So he visited them. He brought their information, which a lot of them couldn't bring themselves, to me. Yeah. And he educated, Adan Elmi educated me, you know. I really did. I mean, you know, and made me the person who I wanted to be, and I want to be known as someone who's humanitarian. So I've always worked with refugees.
And you've done it, yeah.
And he was responsible for that. You know, he was the person who made me that.
So in the best way recently, what was that connection between the last time you saw him, and did you went to his funeral as well?
Yeah, I hadn't seen him I saw him his two daughters run a organisation for helping people. I can't remember what it was called. I went to see them, and I saw Adan. I went with Adan over to see them, and he'd been ill, but he seemed to be on the recovery. And I hadn't seen him for a while after that. It was lovely to see him again because we weren't seeing each other, you know, as much. Yeah, he'd been in Somalia quite a bit, I think. Yeah. And it was really lovely to see him. And then I kept in touch with the family, and then heard he was quite ill when he went to Somalia, and I was quite worried then. And then I heard I think the family contacted me as soon as
he passed away.
He'd passed away, and he was brought over. He came over. He died in England, I think, in Liverpool. Yeah, it's really sad.
Well, I'm sure you really have huge experience with the Somali community, and thanks for behalf of the community to support.
Thank you.
It's amazing because we've seen this third generation, fourth generation who comes that time well educated and be a part of some of their police officers, some of their lawyers.
Yeah.
And hopefully one day you will meet up with them again. But thank you very much.